Hello, my dear friends. Today we continue to explore the diary of German Oberleutnant Martin Stieglitz. Remember to rate the video and also leave your opinion about this video. And we're about to begin. August 8th, 1941. It was comparatively quiet on Wednesday evening. I was ordered to arrive at the battalion, and I headed there along with Penguin. When I arrived, I got another order to set things up in such a way that we could withdraw by pulling away from the enemy. However, the battalion, in any event, had to guard the regiment's march through Pogost Volok. The pulling away from the enemy must be accomplished upon receiving the code signal. It would be fine, but the enemy instantly attacked the 7th Company. The attack was beaten back, and they even began to pursue the enemy. Meanwhile, I had to stay in my trench and wait. What a stressful night it was. We knew that the Reds could outflank us. We had a forest on our left flank, and besides, the other battalions were in contact with the enemy. Eventually, at 05:55 a.m., the code signal was given, and we started to break away from the enemy in an orderly manner. We break away gradually, heavy weapons first, and then the units at the very edge of the flank. Accompanied by 3 soldiers, I was the last to leave the position. Withdrawing, we passed the graves of Feldwebelstrasse and Gefreiter Wegmann. The graves were embellished lovingly by their comrades in arms. This was not how I imagined the farewell to them. At night, accompanied by several soldiers, I stayed there for a short time, and all we could do was to utter a short prayer honoring them. And now the Reds are there! Our front line was moved back by 5 to 7 kilometers. Consequently, the division's ground has improved a bit. I use the word improved because the flanks are still exposed, and there is no communication between the divisions but by reconnaissance sentries. In short, it is very uncomfortable, particularly at night. In total darkness, when it's the most dangerous, I and the commander of the company's command and control department replace each other every hour. It makes us very nervous. This morning, the regimental commander conducted a meeting of officers, and immediately after it, before I even had time for a shave, it started. The Reds again opened an artillery fire on us. 2 batteries of light and heavy guns are firing at us. Owing to the current situation, we definitely won't receive any letters for a few more days. The fact is that our not-too-good situation is aggravated by the heavy thunderstorms that have been raging over us since yesterday. The worst thunderstorms I've seen. And the rain is pouring hard. In short, it's total crap. I've just written some drafts of letters to my family. I hope that between the rains I will manage to write them completely. To be honest, I have no wish to write letters. I just write postcards so that my family at home might guess by the date and handwriting that everything was still good for him on that day. I don't think there's anything else to write. Now I am sitting in the anti-tank hole together with Penguin, while the rain is still monotonously drumming on the tent coat from above. August 10th. I didn't mention any settlements in my recent notes. So far, we have passed through the villages of Dubrovo, Medvedovka, Kumovskaya, and Pogost Volok, and now we are stationed in Myashlevo. Yesterday in the morning, we are awakened very unkindly. The heavy rainstorm made me take a nap in the tent, exhausted by the night sentries in total darkness. And then, already at 7:30 a.m., there's an artillery bombardment. Bloody hell! We have never run to our shelter so quickly. It was fortunate that the Red Battery was immediately detected and destroyed by the fire of our artillery. That ended the shelling. Afterwards, they fired from time to time, but it was from a distance. Now, the Russians are acting surprisingly calm. They have withdrawn their regular forces and replaced them with armed civilians. We are on active reconnaissance because we still need to be alert and keep our eyes open all around us. Right now, our artillery is firing. I don't know where they're firing at, but I need to find out. Yesterday, we got some important news. We were informed that Staraya Russa to the north of us had been taken. Only near Velikaya Ruki the Reds still resist, so we have to stay here for a while. Well, then it must be so. It's difficult for us as an offensive army to hold our defenses because we have to reorganize. I'm often quite abrupt so the men don't lose their heads. Soon we will have to send men out to reconnaissance again. This morning, Penguin and I upgraded our shelter to a deluxe version, wooden walls and a thick bed of hay. Our camouflage is crap-colored, since we are positioned behind a hill of loose sand. Oh, there we go. The Russians again opened crazy fire from 7.5-centimeter guns on our artillery positions. Best to take cover in that case, those scumbags. Their battery sounds like it's very close. We're entering the 8th week of the war. I wish we could move forward again soon. I really don't like this current mess. I'd rather advance than defend. It makes me worry about all sorts of silly things, especially when lying idle or standing guard at night. staring up at a sky of stars that looks down on you so coldly and arrogantly. The weather was good again today. Well, here we go again. The Reds are out of their minds. They're shooting like crazy wherever they can. I hope our observer in the front will spot them soon. August 12th. It was raining all day yesterday, and what a heavy rain. It was a real downpour. The driver of our supply truck, who had to drive 20 to 25 kilometers to the rear to get provisions, reported that there were such deep potholes on the roads that the trucks were stuck on their axles. Well, the weather so far is not favorable to us. Yesterday, the Russians bombarded us all day long, sparing no ammunition. On Sunday night to Monday morning, they attempted to attack our outposts, but they were beaten back. When the commissar was killed, we found important papers, maps with markings, and the order to attack. The previous night was quiet. 2 times together with Penguin, I went around our entire front line. Then I fell asleep for a while. The most danger lies in the hours when the moon rises and the morning fog falls. That is when these guys are looking for a sudden raid, since all their daytime sorties are met with a solid response. But the woods and night are their favorite thing. There was no rain today, thank God. It's about 5 p.m. The Russians charged the 3rd Battalion, but their attack was repulsed. Now they're after us, after our outpost. For unknown reasons, the soldiers from the outpost have pulled back to the main line of defense, despite the fact that we knew about the Russian troop concentrations for a long time. Why? We can finally judge about it after clarification of all the circumstances. Currently, our task is to retake the lost territory. Lieutenant Bach at the front has already been ordered. Lieutenant Schubert, who was next to him, recently had a similar mission at Kumovskaya. The only significant difference is that it's daytime. Now the 7th Company will move forward and recapture the position seized by the enemy. The daylight hours are coming to an end. I hope the situation will be resolved before nightfall. August 13th. Last night the 7th Company managed to retake its former position. It must still be analyzed the way Lieutenant Bach, the platoon commander, and Engler acted. Anyway, it's a blow to the prestige of the 7th Company, and Count Engler has once again demonstrated that he is, to put it mildly, in short, the fact that he is not a secret to me for a long time now, I hope, will be noticed by the higher command. All this matter is extremely sensitive for our commander, Major Aberauer, and I well understand this good old soldier, who commands his battalion with the greatest solitude and responsibility. He is, after all, an unbelievable man of righteousness and incorruptible person. Even if he occasionally lashes out at us, it all comes from the heart. Last night I had a feeling something was about to happen, but it didn't. But this morning, however, the enemy still raided the positions of the 3rd Battalion, and the reconnaissance raided us. According to the testimonies of the captives, we already know a lot about the enemy. The officers are mainly knocked out, as well as the commissars. The soldiers are badly fed. The personnel are poorly trained recruits. For the last few nights, the moon, which shines almost as brightly as the day, has been unfortunately appearing more and more late. It's a waning moon, and we'd prefer a waxing moon. We know by experience that in total darkness the Russians are always attempting to do sorties. We wander back and forth along the front line with the Penguin at night. I hope that this night will be quiet. August 16th. The Russians made another attempt to attack us. The day before yesterday in the morning, their 7.5 centimeter projectile exploded about 8 meters from the trench of an observer of the company's command and control unit. I move constantly along the front line, night after night, taking control and observing. Penguin is always with me, with hand grenades on his belt. As a result, I can only take a short nap. The problem is that I can only sleep at night. I can't do it in the daytime. I can only take a nap. For over 14 days, we have been on the defense. It is certain that in the course of further progress of the operation, there will be another large encirclement here, so we need to hold them off on our section and to attack rapidly on the flanks. I guess that first of all Leningrad will be taken. This city must be taken. It will give us the Baltic Sea. We bet between us that the war will be over by August 14th, and tomorrow it will be the 9th week. We've made new bets. Now it's September 14th, 1941. I wonder where we'll be by that time. Our positions get better and stronger day by day. I see a proper system of trenches already. I summoned the barbers from the rear today. My soldiers needed a haircut. August 17th. Today marks the 9th week of the war in Russia, and we are still on our spot. At 3:10 a.m., the Russians started artillery bombardment. It's now 8 p.m., and they're still shelling. Probably they brought them ammunition again. They are not sparing. They are firing a lot and randomly. The rumor has it that the Reds have managed to break through between the 32nd and 123rd Infantry Divisions. We don't like to hang around here and hold our defenses, but what can we do? We have to do it now. Lieutenant Colonel Kegler, the regiment commander, inspected our positions, equipped with connecting passages by my order, and expressed words of commendation. In his letter to the regiment, Colonel General Hoppner accused us of having left our fallen men slightly covered with earth in single trenches, with a helmet on top of the ground, near the village of Bolshoye Ledalevo. In response to this, our commander gave him a clear and detailed reply. We all really appreciated that. The heat is terrible today, and a thunderstorm is probably coming. It's pretty dark already. Today I wrote replies to the families of our men who died. I constantly do reconnaissance. Our flank is too exposed. That is all for today. You can watch other episodes of this diary by following the link in the pinned comment. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and support the channel by subscribing. Goodbye everyone, until next time.